Sorry about that. Not sure what happened there. Okay, I'll give you a second to come back, if you would. Let me make sure that you've got enough space. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but always learning with this technology. Yeah, so come to lying on your backs on your mat. Work to your level. As always, you're responsible for your body. I'm just giving you the offering of class. So this week, we're going to be doing a little bit more shoulders by request, coming into maybe an inversion. So be really careful with yourself wherever you are. And also, I made this sequence before thinking about this, but if you are, if it's that time of the month, inversions can sometimes be not recommended. Sometimes your balance can be a little bit off. So this is just more respect yourself, but inversions can also help with any cramping. So I'll throw that out there. And then, so I'm gonna match all donations again this week. This might be my last week for doing that just financially, but they're gonna go to the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union. Okay, so come to lying down on your back, on your mat. Take a minute to reconnect to your breath. Let the floor hold you. And feel what spots of your back are pressing against the ground. And notice the natural curve of your spine. So maybe your shoulders and your hips, your tailbone are the heaviest on the mat, right? Because you have a natural curve in your neck and your lower back to be lighter on the ground. And this is the sort of normal curvature in your spine that you want to make sure you protect. So we don't want to take out any arches, but we also don't want to overarch or round in anywhere. So as long as you have broad shoulders and everything feels okay, you'll be in alignment because you're pressed up right against the floor. Take another breath here. Let it be your longest breath yet. Inhale through the nose and let it out through the mouth. One more. Inhale through the nose and let it out through the mouth. All right. You can keep your eyes closed or open them softly, whatever you'd like to do here. You can start to wiggle the fingers and the toes, and we'll jump right into a little bit of core work. So for this core work, you're going to want to tuck your tailbone just slightly, so your lower back might touch the ground a little bit more. You don't want to press it into the ground, but just touch it a little bit more. And bring your knees up, touching the soles of your feet to the mat, just below your hips. And then keep that engagement, bringing your low ribs towards your hip bones. Bringing your belly button down to your spine. Lift your knees and bring your shins parallel to the ground in a supine tabletop position. And then we're going to do a couple toe taps just to warm up. You could do your right toe and then your left toe, or both at the same time. So as you lower, inhale, and as you exhale, bring your legs back. So we're going to do that a few times. Inhale to lower, exhale to bring them back up. Inhale to lower, and exhale to bring them back up. If you want more, go ahead and straighten your legs, and we'll do leg lifts, or stick to toe taps. Inhale, or exhale to lower. No, inhale to lower, there you go. Exhale to bring it back up. Inhale, lower. Exhale to bring it back up. Inhale, lower. Exhale to bring it back up. And they're going to go into some bicycle crunches. If your knees are bent, keep them bent. Bring your hands behind your head and interlace your fingers at the base of your skull. And then bring your chest and shoulder blades off the mat. And then we're going to reach the chest. So your elbows should keep reaching out to the side, but bring your chest towards the one knee or the other. So if you're bicycling with your knees bent, you're going to straighten one leg down, leaving the other one bent, reaching your chest towards that knee, and then switching to the other side. If you want to have straight legs, same thing, but keep your legs straight, reaching your chest towards the leg that's lifted as you let them fall to the opposite side. So if you lower your right leg, reach your chest towards your lifted left leg, and then switch. Inhale, both legs up. Exhale, twist a little bit. Inhale up, exhale, crunch. Inhale back, exhale, crunch. A couple rounds at your own pace. Make sure you're not straining in your neck. Keeping your hands behind your head lightly, your elbows out to the side. You're reaching your chest up and not trying to reach your elbow to your knee. Just a few more here. Last one. Finish it whatever side you did first, you can remember. Bring your legs back to center. Keep your shoulders lifted. Reach up to your toes. And then release it all down. Let the soles of your feet fall to the ground. Take a minute to reset your spine back to its natural curvature. And then bring your knees into your chest. Give them a little hug and rock side to side. And then let your knees roll over to the right side as you bring them up. Reach your knees up and over to your right shoulder as you bring your arms out to a T for a little bit of a gentle supine twist to the right for a minute. On your next inhale, keep your arms up to a T and see if you can bring your knees back into your chest. Hug them in without your hands. Keep them high and reach them up to your left shoulder and then let them fall over to the left. Reconnect to your breath here. If you practice Ujjayi breath, incorporate that whisper in the back of your throat for a little bit of focus. On your next inhale, with no hands, bring your knees back to center. And then grab your knees with your hands now. Give yourself one more little rock side to side, and then start rocking back and forth, or whatever way you want to get through a seat into a tabletop position. Then come to a tabletop position, stacking your knees under your hips, your wrists under your shoulders. And we always want to start with a little bit of cat-cow, right? So starting with a neutral spine, engage that abdominal slightly, and then inhale, reach your chest through your arms. As you inhale and exhale, dome your back to the sky. Inhale, reach your chest forward through your arms. Exhale, dome your back to the sky. One more time. Inhale, chest forward. And exhale, dome your back to the sky. Come to a neutral position and just take a look at your elbows. So we want to make sure that when we're in tabletop position and any other poses where we're putting some weight in our hands, that we're externally rotating our shoulders enough that we're broad across the chest. So notice if your elbows are the inner part of your elbows, your elbow pit. Are they facing back towards your knees or into each other or out towards the front of your mat? So take a notice and play around. What does it do to your shoulders if you start moving your elbows a different direction, right? You kind of get hunched in when your elbow pit's facing back, right? So make sure you externally rotate at the shoulders, bringing your elbow pits to face each other or in front to the top of your mat. Letting your shoulders be broad and your collarbones have some space. And then once you're there, reconnect, create that muscle memory. Find length in your spine and openness in your shoulders here. All right? When you're ready, you're gonna reach your right foot back, lift that leg up and back and long. Try to keep it in line with your hips. If your hips start to open, bring it back to neutral. Make sure that this is coming from deep within your core and not just in the leg. So make sure your abdominals are engaged here, right? Holding your leg up, if you're ready for some balance, bring your left arm, reach it out in front, your arm in line with your ear, if you can get it there. And holding your bird dog position here for a minute. Or for a few breaths, I shouldn't say minute. Holding here strong. Finding this position not from the arm and the leg, but from deep within the core. So reconnect to that core, lift your belly up slightly, bringing your hip bones and your lower ribs together. Finding the balance and stability from within the core. And as you exhale, release your hand and your leg. Get ready for the other side. So you know what's coming. When you're ready, lift your left leg back behind you. Make sure your hips are level. Finding this movement and stability from your core. We just fired it up, so it should be ready. And then reach your right arm long in front of you. Maybe your upper arm in line with your ear. Holding here. Re-engage those abdominals. Find a long neutral spine. Keep looking down so that your head and your neck is also in line with your spine. One more breath. And then exhale your arm and leg down. Okay. You can shift your knees back a little bit, touch your toes together, and sit back through a child's pose. We won't be here for very long unless you need it. Just know that this is a great resting pose as you're reaching your hips back towards your heels. You can let your forehead maybe rest down on the ground, or you can put your palms on the ground and rest your forehead on your hands. And reaching your fingertips forward and pressing your palms into the ground so much that your elbows lift off. And then think about where your elbows are facing and try to roll your shoulders open. Externally rotate those arms. And then look in between your hands. As you press slightly forward, tuck your toes under, and then press your hips back, straightening your legs enough to come back into your downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Holding here, your first downward dog. If you'd like to have a little bit of movement, swaying the hips or pedaling the feet, go for it. So this is our first inversion, prep pose. So downward facing dog is considered an inversion because our head is lower than our hips. So always know This is a great place to start working from, because this is still an inversion. You're still getting the benefits of your heart and your head lower than your hips. Pressing into every finger and reaching your legs back, engaging the quads with the upper thigh muscles. And then slowly start to walk your hands back to your feet. For a nice gentle forward fold, bend those knees. Try to get your belly on the thighs. You can maybe grab opposite elbows and let your body hang. Let gravity pull you into this stretch. My hamstrings are always tight in the morning. So just being gentle with your body. If you want to start straightening your legs, it's your prerogative. All right. Slowly release your hands from your elbows. Release your head, shake it yes and no. And keep that gentleness in your neck as you roll up your spine one vertebra at a time to come to standing. Stacking everything on top of itself to come to Tadasana. So you can keep your feet hips width distance, or you can bring your toes to touch, heels slightly apart, which is the classical form of this. So this week, again, Tadasana is an important prep pose. So we're going to take a minute here to engage. So first things first, go ahead and face forward, and let me try to talk you through this as you listen to your body and try to align it. So let your shoulders broaden. Open those collarbones, reaching your shoulder blades back and down. Letting your arms release to your sides. Palms face forward or each other. Allowing your hip bones and lower ribs to reach towards each other. A little bit of that abdominal engagement to make sure your shoulders are above your hips. And make sure your hips are stable with one another. There's no sway. Make sure the weight is even in your feet. And then engage those legs. Release any tension in your buttocks, flesh. Releasing your tailbone down towards the backs of your knees. Engaging your legs so that your upper thighs are reaching towards each other and back. Like you could shoot a block through your thighs to the back, but allowing your shins and calf muscles to reach back. So it's sort of that opposite tension. It's in a lot more detail than you need, but I just wanted you to make sure you're holding steady and you're being mindful in this position. This is an important pose, because any inversion, if we're going up into it, is going to be just the inverse of this, right? Okay. So, let all that go. All yoga is good yoga. Whatever you can do. Inhale, reach your arms up and overhead, keeping that Tadasana in the rest of the body. And then exhale, hinge at your hips, bend your knees, fold forward. Inhale for a half lift. Let your fingertips come to the outer edges of your shins. Reaching your head forward, long spine here. Placing your hands down on the ground. And go ahead and walk them out to a plank. So we're going to hold plank here. And then we're going to shift back to a downward facing dog. And you can keep your toes together for this, shifting back and forward just a few times, keeping your back long this time. So not trying to undulate the spine, but keeping a long spine, keeping that engagement in the abdominals. You can look forward in between your hands and then slowly shift yourself to a plank. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Inhale to a plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. And inhale to a plank. So from plank, we're going to shift forward into Chaturanga. And know that you can always rest your knees on the ground if you need. But if you'd like to try, we're gonna slowly get into Chaturanga. So first things first is shift your weight forward on the tips of your toes. And you're gonna make sure the eyes of your elbows, or those elbow pits, are facing forward so that your elbows, as you bend them, stay right in line with your ribs. And you're gonna wanna hold it at about 90 degrees. And this is your Chaturanga. You can lower the knees if you'd like, and lower yourself to your belly. Coming to your belly, we're gonna come to a baby cobra. Fingertips on the ground. Make sure your fingertips are in line with your nipples, your chest. So reach those elbows back towards your hips. And then peel your chest off the mat as you inhale. And then exhale, release it. And then we're gonna come into a locust pose. So you can keep your arms where they are, or you can release them down by your side. And then on your next inhale, you're gonna reach your legs up, and then your arms up, and then your whole chest up. So we're reaching up like we're flying a locust. Are you hungry for grain? And then exhale, release it down. Place your hands underneath your shoulders again, fingertips in line with the nipples. Tuck your toes under and engage the legs so much that your legs come off the ground. Only your belly is touching the ground. And then you're gonna press up into a plank. Don't think about it too much, but make sure your elbows are reaching back and not out. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, reach up to plank. Press up, you got it. And then shift back to downward facing dog. Okay, we're gonna go through that flow a few times. So inhale to plank. Shift forward, exhale, Chaturanga, all the way to the belly. Inhale, reach your arms back and lift up for a locust. Exhale, press your hands underneath your shoulders. Get those legs ready. As you inhale, press up to plank. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Look forward, inhale, shift to plank. Exhale, Chaturanga, all the way to the belly. Reach your arms back, inhale, locust, everything up, arms and legs. Exhale, release it down, set your arms, your hands up, engage those legs. Get ready, press up to plank. Shift back as you exhale to downward facing dog. Last time, you got this. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale from Chaturanga, all the way to the belly. Bring your arms back by your hips. Inhale for locust. And exhale, set up your hands and feet. As you inhale, press up to plank. And exhale, shift back to downward facing dog. And holding your downward facing dog here for a moment. Maybe close your eyes, reconnect to your breath. See how your body's feeling. See how your shoulders are doing. Pressing your hips back, finding that long spine. On your next inhale, look forward to your hands. And then exhale, walk your feet to your hands. Inhale for a half lift, hands come to the outsides of your shins. And exhale, fold. As you fold, make sure the weight is in the balls of your feet. And then with a long spine, inhale, reach your arms out and up. Arms overhead, and then release your hands down by your side to Tadasana. So we'll flow through one modified Sun Salutation A, and then one full, but you can stick to the modification if you'd like. One more breath into Tadasana, reconnect to your body. Inhale, circle your arms out and overhead. And exhale, fold forward, bend the knees. Inhale, half lift, hands to the outer side of your shins. And then plant your hands, step back to plank. And then knees up or down, shift forward, and bend your elbows back into Chaturanga. Shoulders only go as low as the elbows. Take a look. Inhale to Cobra or to Up Dog. If you're in Upward Facing Dog, only the hands and the tops of the feet are pressing to the ground. And then exhale, shift your hips back to Downward Facing Dog. Holding here for a breath. Pressing into your fingertips of your hands. And take a notice at your elbow pits, where they're facing. You want them to be working towards maybe facing each other or the front of the mat. Try and notice, just play around for another second to see what it's like to move your elbow pits to face the ground. Maybe your shoulders hunch up to your ears. And then let your elbow pits rotate slightly so that they're facing more up. And see if that opens up your collarbone and your shoulders a little bit. Inhale, look in between your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or float your feet to your hands. Inhale for a half lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, long spine, reach your arms out and up, bend your knees, come up standing. And then exhale, release your hands through center, down by your sides. All right, one full version. Inhale, reach your arms out and up overhead. Exhale, folding forward, bend your knees to do so. Inhale for a half lift. Exhale, you can step back to plank, or if you're really feeling it, jump back directly into Chaturanga. You want to jump back with your elbows bent, not straight. If you're feeling it, inhale, upward facing dog or Cobra. Exhale, roll over the toes to downward facing dog. Holding here for another breath. Hopefully, you're getting nice and warm. Look forward, inhale. Exhale, bring your feet to your hands. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, arms out and up. Come to standing arm overhead. And then release your hands back through center and down by your side. Take a moment here, holding Tadasana one more time. Take a notice at your joints. Make them your stackable Jenga points. So take a notice at your ankles. Make sure you're not hyperextending your knees so that your ankles are directly over your hips. Your hips directly under your shoulders, and your shoulders directly under your head. So think about those different points and stacking them on top of each other and engaging the muscles around those joints, creating stability. Inhale, circle your arms out and overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back to plank or directly into Chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. Holding your downward facing dog for a moment. We're going to press slowly into Dolphin. So bear with me here. You're going to lower your right elbow down to the ground, trying to make sure your forearm is parallel if you can, and then release your left arm to the ground. So elbows both touching the ground. This is a version of Dolphin. Keeping yourself broad across the collarbones and open in the chest. And then you can lift your right elbow up and your left elbow up, holding back into downward facing dog. So we're going to do that a few times. We're going to really engage those shoulders and triceps here. So try to engage the back of your upper arms in this exercise here, in this motion. So you can do one elbow and the other, or both at the same time. Slowly, as you exhale, let your elbows reach towards the ground and slowly touch. And then, if you're ready for it, both at the same time, or one and then the other. Inhale, lift your elbows up, feeling that engagement in the backs of your arms. Exhale, lower one and the other, or both slowly together. Inhale, lift them both up, or one at a time. And exhale, release them down to the ground. Inhale, bring them back up into downward facing dog. And we'll hold here for just a second. We're going to shift forward into plank. Just place one elbow on the ground and the other elbow onto the ground to forearm plank. You can bring your hands together or keep them parallel in line with your upper arms. This time we want the elbows to be directly under the shoulders. So you can bring your hands together, that's sort of where my shoulder flexibility is, or keep them apart. So we're going to be shifting from forearm plank back to dolphin, and walk your feet in towards your elbows. So your dolphin here isn't as wide of a stance as your downward facing dog. Working to walk your toes as much in as you can before your back starts to round slightly and your chest comes forward. At that point, walk back a little bit. And then walk back out to hold your forearm plank. Plant your right palm onto the ground and your left palm onto the ground, coming back into your full plank. And then shift back to downward facing dog. We're going to flow through that twice. So get ready. Look forward. Inhale, come to plank. Exhale, forearm plank. Inhale, shift your hips back to dolphin. Exhale, walk your toes in. Inhale, walk your toes back out to forearm plank. Exhale, press up to hold full plank. And shift back to your downward facing dog. One more time, look forward, shift to plank. Lower your left elbow this time, then the right, or whatever opposite side you did before. Holding your forearm plank, lifting your hips, walking your toes in, holding your dolphin. Walking your toes back out, holding your forearm plank. Pressing one palm into the ground and then the other palm into the ground to hold full plank. And then let your knees rest on the ground. Touch your toes together, shift your hips back, and hold child pose. Look forward in between your hands. If you're ready to keep going, tuck your toes under, shift your hips back to downward facing dog. Look forward in between your hands, and exhale, bring your feet to your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold forward. And as you inhale, this time we're not going to come to standing, we're going to come to chair. So with your toes touching, your heels slightly apart, bend deeply your knees, letting your knees touch if that's all right with your body, shifting your hips back and down, reaching your arms up and in line with your ears, having a long spine here, respecting the natural curve of your spine, but engaging the muscles around it. Holding your chair pose here for a second. Weight in the heels, maybe lift those toes up to the sky. And then exhale, fold forward, release. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, flow through your version of a Chaturanga. Inhale to up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Keeping your left foot planted in downward facing dog, bring your right leg up. Keep it in line with your hip for a moment to make sure your hips are in line with each other. And then you can reach it higher. That's all right with your body. But keep your hips lined with each other. Don't rotate that hip open. Keep it in line. Neutral for your three-legged dog. And then as you inhale, you're going to shift your knee to your nose. Maybe give that knee a little kiss. Bring it into your chest. And then plant that foot down in between your hands. Let your left foot plant onto the ground. Make sure your left arch is in line with your right front heel. And then turn your left toes in slightly, setting up for warrior two. And then you can circle your arms, leading with your left arm to reach up and over into your warrior two position. Maybe widen your stance if you'd like. Try to make sure your knee is over your ankle and the front right leg. Wrapping your right thigh and butt under you, but don't forget to engage that back left leg. Holding a strong warrior two here. Bring those arms up to a T in line with your shoulders. And then flip your palms up to the sky. See what that does to your shoulders. And try to keep that openness in your shoulders as you then just rotate the hands down. Keeping that openness in the shoulders. Maybe bringing your shoulder blades a little bit closer to each other. Trying to engage the backs of the arms. Holding here for another breath. And then exhale, plant your hands. Step back through a plank, through a Chaturanga. Inhale for up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And next, inhale, reach your left foot up, keeping those hips in line with each other. Neutral hip, not rotating open. Maybe lift that foot a little bit higher. Guess where this movement's coming from? The core. Inhale, look forward, shift forward, bring that knee in, give it a kiss. Love that knee. That knee really helps you out, right? Plant that left foot in between your hands. Let that back right foot plant. Line up your front heel to your back arch. And turn those right toes in slightly. And then this time, circling up, leading with your right arm to warrior two. Same setup as the other side. Maybe bring your hands to your hips just for a moment to make sure that your left knee is bending towards the left pinky toe side of your foot. Inhale, reaching your arms to a T, hands in line with your shoulders, pressing the weight into your front left heel, and engaging the back right leg. Palms face up, feeling that openness in your collarbones or shoulders, and then just let the hands turn down, not moving the shoulders. Finding broadness across your collarbones, holding warrior two for one more long breath. Inhale your biggest breath yet today. And then exhale, plant your hands down, flow through your version of a Chaturanga. Inhale for upward facing dog, and exhale to downward facing dog. Looking in between your hands, step walk or float your hands, your feet to your hands. Inhale for a half lift, and exhale, fold forward. And next, inhale, toes touch, heels slightly apart, knees together, sit your butt back. Weight in the heels as you bring your arms in line with your ears for your chair pose. And then exhale, come to standing. Back to your Tadasana. And take a recovery breath here. Inhale your biggest breath yet. And exhale it out through the mouth. One more like that. Inhale, biggest breath through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. All right, so through your arms out and overhead as you inhale. Exhale, fold forward, bend your knees. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant your hands and step back to plank. Holding a plank here. Let's see if you're feeling good. So slowly bend one elbow and the other or down together to your dolphin pose. This time in your dolphin, interlace your fingers and then tuck the pinky that's sort of like being crushed to the inner part of your palms, so that now both pinky side edges of your hands are pressing into the ground. Make sure your elbows are about shoulder width distance. You can shift forward to a forearm plank just to make sure the setup is right, that your shoulders are directly over your elbows, and make sure they don't fall out any wider than that. And then shift your hips up and back, walk your toes into your dolphin pose here, making sure you're externally rotating those upper arms and shoulders so that your neck is free. You can shake your head yes, you can shake your head no. Your head is free, it's not locked in by your shoulders, right? All the weight is in your arms and your feet. And then we're gonna do some dolphin push-ups. So this just means look forward, shift your body forward, and try to get your chin to touch your 2 forefingers. And then exhale, bring it back. Inhale, look forward, bring your body forward. Bring your chin up in front of your hands, and then exhale, shift it back. Okay, 2 more times like this. Inhale, shift. Exhale, press back. Inhale, shift. And exhale, press back. And then keep your hands where they are, but you can plant your knees on the ground. Okay, sit back on your heels for a minute. Sit up into your hero's pose, Virasana, and let your shoulders relax. Give them one more rest before we go into some inversion play. So we have to do a lot of prep, making sure our shoulders are warmed up, our core is warmed up to do inversions safely. So sit here and reconnect to yourself. Make sure that you are mentally ready to do some inversion play. Know that you can always go to downward facing dog or child's pose at any point. And after any inversion, you need to go directly into child's pose. That's going to be your transition back into standing, because you don't want to go upside down to standing too quickly, right? So when you're done, go into child's pose. Okay, and since I can't be there to make sure you're doing it safely, I want to make sure you're doing it to what your ability is. So if you want to play, you can have a wall behind you, but I encourage you to try to do what you can out freely on your mat, and I'll walk you through it. So, if you're ready, come with me. Plant your forearms back on the ground like you're in dolphin. Interlace your fingers, tuck that pinky under so that the outer edges of your hands are pressing into the ground and your outer edges of your arms are pressing into the ground. We're going to come into dolphin again, but this time we're going to touch the crown of your head, or it's sort of right above your hairline. So if you trace your forehead up to your hairline, it's just above your hairline. So you're going to press that part of your head into the ground slightly. So you want 80 to 90% of the weight in your arms and just a tiny bit to touch your head to the ground. Okay, and then bring your hips up, lift into dolphin. So you can hold your dolphin here. This is a great prep pose for headstand or Sirsasana. Or you can walk your toes in and then bring one knee into your chest This is a half egg. This is a prep pose. And then the other knee into your chest. Or, if you're ready, slowly try to bring both knees into your chest. This is your egg pose. Knees in the chest, weight 80% in the arms. This is your prep egg pose for headstand. So I always come into egg, and then if you're ready, you can slowly reach and straighten the legs up, flexing your feet, engaging the legs. Guess where this is coming from? The core. So engage your hip bones and lower ribs together. Wherever you are, stay for a few breaths. You can bring your legs down straight or bent. You could do a half pike if you'd like, and touch your toes down. Bring your knees to the ground and release into child's pose. Let it go. Whatever happened, whatever didn't happen, let it go. Maybe we'll have one more chance, one more go of it. If you'd like to stay in child's pose, by all means, stay in child's pose. But if you'd like, get ready, look forward at your hands. You just made a little basket. If you kept your fingers interlaced, tucking that pinky under, you have a little basket for your head. Place the crown of your head on the ground slightly, right? A little bit of weight, 80% of the weight to 90% of the weight in the arms. Maybe tuck those toes under, maybe lift those hips. Maybe bring one knee into your chest, maybe bring the other knee into your chest, holding your egg, if that's where you are, great. Or reaching up one more time for your headstand. Holding here, engaging the abdominals, making sure it's coming, this balance is coming from the core and not dumping into the low back. Engaging through the core, holding here for another breath. Wherever you are is great. You're doing fantastic. And then exhale, lower down. Back to child's pose. Release it out. Inhale, long, big breath. Let it out through the mouth. And then reach your hands forward in your child's pose. A long, extended child's pose so that your elbows are up off the ground. And then spider walk your fingers over to the right for a little side lateral stretch. And then spider walk your fingers back to center. And then over to the left for a nice lateral stretch on the other side. Walking them back to center. Looking forward, you can take a seat from here, or if you'd like to play around, press up and back into downward facing dog. Maybe walk your hands back towards your feet slightly and out to the edges of your mat. Bend your knees, bring your toes to touch. Look forward in between your hands. And if you'd like to jump through to a seat, straighten the legs out in front of you and sit your butt down. And then come to sit with long legs out in front of you. Sitting tall, plant your hands by your hips and releasing the shoulders back and down, making sure that your elbow pits are facing forward to externally rotate the arms here. Holding your Tadasana staff pose. Maybe reaching your chest forward and up slightly so that you're stacking your shoulders just above your hips. Engaging those legs. And then releasing the hands, maybe assisting or just letting your knees come into your chest. Let the soles of your feet touch each other. Sometimes I need to hike in the pants a little bit to make sure we don't blow out a crotch. Bring your soles to touch and let your knees fall out for your Baddha Konasana or your butterfly stretch. Here, we kept neutral hips a lot, so this should feel pretty juicy. If you'd like, go ahead and interlace your fingers around your toes, reaching your chest forward and through your arms. You can bend over with a long spine, and then slowly just hunch it over. Let it be more in the hips. Take a long breath in here, and a long breath out. Inhaling, coming back up to seated. And then releasing those feet out forward, getting ready for your Shavasana. And if you'd like to go into Shavasana, and if you have to get started with your day, go for it. Or you can stick with me, roll back into your Shavasana, onto your supine back. And then bring your arms out to a T. And let your knees come into your chest with no hands, and then reach over to your right shoulder and fall over to the right. Coming back to where we started, full circle. Inhale back to center, and exhale, knees to your left shoulder, and then release them down to the ground. Inhale them back to center. Plant the soles of your feet onto the ground. Maybe stack your right ankle over your left knee. And you can keep it there, or maybe bring your figure four in. Interlace your fingers on the back of your left thigh. And keep your right knee pressing out. So inversions can sometimes change your perspective on things, and hopefully that'll be for the better. Maybe open your mind to some new idea. Maybe come up with some new idea you didn't know before. And know that this is all part of the yoga practice. So all yoga is good yoga. Whatever you can do is great. And whatever you want to work towards is also great. Because we're always going to be working towards something. And that's going to be different for everybody. Go ahead and plant that left sole of your foot. Plant the right sole of your foot back down. Bring your left ankle over top of your right knee. And then hug that figure four in, interlacing fingers underneath of that right thigh. Reconnect to your breath. Just let it slow down. Let your body cool down. Inversions can be invigorating. And even though downward facing dog, release the sole of your right foot, release the sole of your left foot. And then come, release your legs forward into Shavasana. Release your arms by your side. Let your feet roll out. And relax into your Shavasana here. Even though downward facing dog is an inversion, the full no leg inversions, like headstands, that's the first type of inversion. That's the first step. So it's the most stable of the inversions, free inversions. So working towards that is a great place if you want to work towards inversions. And if you don't want to work towards inversions, that's also totally fine. Relaxing your Shavasana here. Relaxing any tension around the eyes. Letting your tongue release from the top of your mouth. Letting your breath come to its normal rhythm, releasing any control over it. And then just notice the breath. On your next inhale, maybe start to wiggle the fingers and toes. Maybe touch your thumb each finger, one at a time. Maybe move the wrists and the ankles, bend the elbows and the knees, plant your feet, the soles of your feet on the ground in front of your hips. Bring your right arm up in line with your ear. Bring your knees into your chest, and then just roll over to your side. And then slowly press yourself back up to seated. And keep your eyes closed, or you can gently open them. Bring your hands to heart center. Connecting with yourself. Bring your hands up to your forehead. Down clear and loving thoughts about everyone else around you and yourself. The light in me honors and respects the light and energy in you. Or namaste. Thank you for tuning in. In the next couple weeks, we're going to start transitioning into in-person classes, which is going to be a lot of fun. I might still keep some virtual classes for my friends who don't live here. But just know that it'd be nice and exciting to have some opportunities for in-person classes. Again, all donations I accept graciously through Venmo. And this week I'm matching all donations and sending them to the ACLU. So you'll go for a good cause, sort of inverting any preconceived notions about civil liberties in your body, and encouraging that in the world. Maybe that's a reach. I don't know. But thank you so much for tuning in, and have a good rest of your week. Awesome. Thanks for your comments. You guys are awesome.